All right, let's talk about a modern mystery that probably sounds familiar to a lot of us: fitness apps. We download them by the millions, but for some reason, only a tiny fraction of us ever stick with them. Today, we're going to dig into the research that finally cracked the code on why.
You know the feeling, right? It's that burst of motivation. You think, okay, this is it. This app is going to be the thing that finally gets me on track. You hit download, you're excited, you're ready to go. But then, well, life happens. A few weeks later, maybe even a few days, that app is just sitting on your phone unopened. And this huge gap between all those downloads and people actually using them long term is a major headache for everyone. So what is the secret sauce for an app that people stick with?
To figure that out, we're going to follow the exact path the researchers took. We'll start with this big paradox, then look at the theories they used as a roadmap. We'll walk through their two-part investigation, reveal the loyalty formula they discovered, and then see what it all means for us in the real world. Ready? Let's get into it. Okay, first up, the fitness app paradox. This is the heart of the problem they wanted to solve. It's this weird situation where something can be incredibly popular, but at the same time, people just don't commit to it.
And the research is super clear about this. The market for these apps is absolutely massive. We're talking millions and millions of downloads. But getting people to keep using them? That's a whole different ballgame. A lot of past studies looked at why we download an app in the first place, but not many focused on the nitty-gritty features that make or break our loyalty down the line. And that's exactly the gap this study was designed to fill.
So when you're tackling a big question like this, you don't just start from zero. Smart researchers build on what's already known, using established theories as their guide. And for this investigation, two big ideas were key. First up is something called Task Technology Fit, or TTF. Just think of it as the perfect tool for the job idea. It's pretty simple. The better an app's features actually match what you need to do, like say plan a workout, the more useful you're going to find it, and the more likely you are to keep using it. Makes sense, right?
The second big one is the unified theory of acceptance and use of technology. Whoa, that's a mouthful. Let's just call it UTAOT. This one is all about what's going on in our heads. It basically says we're asking ourselves a few questions. Is this thing actually going to help me reach my goal? Is it easy to figure out? And if I get stuck, is there help available?
Okay, so with those big ideas as their roadmap, the researchers came up with a really clever two-part plan. See, they knew they couldn't just ask people what they wanted. They had to be more strategic, to figure out what really matters, and then test if it actually changes how people behave. And this two-step approach is really the engine of the whole investigation. In Study 1, they started by just exploring. They needed to find out which features users said were the most important. But they didn't stop there. For Study 2, they switched into confirmation mode to test whether those preferences actually predict who sticks with an app long-term. It's a really powerful way to connect what people say they want with what they actually do. So for that first study, they used this awesome method called conjoint analysis with 250 students. You can basically think of it as a really sophisticated would-you-rather game. They showed people different combos of app features, like would you prefer a free app that plans your workouts using videos, or a pricier app that's just an exercise library with pictures. By having people make these choices, the researchers could mathematically figure out how important each individual feature was. Pretty cool.
And this is where all that careful setup starts to pay off. After laying all that groundwork, the investigation started giving them some seriously powerful answers. This is the loyalty formula they uncovered.
So check this out. The results from Study 1 were fascinating. By far, the most important thing to people was the app's functionality. You know, what the app could actually do for them. That one factor was responsible for almost 45% of their decision. Next came how good the exercise demos were. And look what came in dead last: price. What the app does is nearly twice as important as what it costs. That's a huge insight.
And digging into that functionality piece, it all came down to one word: personalization. The research found that a one-size-fits-all approach, like a generic digital textbook of exercises, just doesn't work. What people really wanted were workout planners that felt tailored specifically to them, to their goals and their body. When an app feels like it was made just for you, that's when you stick around.
Now, Study 2 is where they connected all the dots, and what they found was this incredible chain reaction. Let me walk you through it. First, when an app is a perfect fit for what you need, you just plain use it more. Simple. But here's the cool part. That good fit also makes you believe the app will help you succeed. And that belief, that creates a strong intention to keep using it. And finally, that intention is what leads to the ultimate goal. You actually keep using the app. So a good fit leads to belief, which leads to intention, which leads to loyalty. Boom.
So how powerful is this whole formula? Well, it explains over half, 55.2%, of the reason why one person sticks with an app and another person quits. Now, you might hear that and not know what to make of it, but trust me, in this kind of social science research, that is a massive number. It tells you these aren't just small factors, they are the absolute core drivers of whether or not we stick around.
Okay, so we've got the research, we've got the formula. But so what? What does this actually mean for the people building these apps, and for us, the people trying to use them? Let's talk about how to put this into practice.
The lessons here are crystal clear. For any app developer listening, personalization is king. You have to make it feel custom. The design needs to be dead simple and intuitive. You need to have real, actual tech support. And little things like gamification, badges, leaderboards, that kind of stuff can make a big difference. And yeah, while price wasn't number one, it still have to feel fair.
Now, look, no single study can ever answer every single question. In fact, a sign of really good research is that it's honest about its own limits and points the way for what needs to be studied next.
And the authors here are totally upfront about that. For instance, their study was done with university students in one specific part of India. So would the same results hold true for, say, older adults in North America? We need more research to know. It was also just a snapshot in time, and it didn't really get into the power of social features, like working out with friends, which we all know can be a huge motivator.
And that brings us to the final big question. This research has handed us a pretty clear formula for what makes a fitness app work. It's not about being the flashiest, it's about being personal, being easy, and showing a clear path to our goals. So the question for all of us is, how do we take that knowledge and use it, whether we're building an app or just choosing one, to finally turn all those good intentions into healthy habits that actually last? Thanks for joining me.